Yes, it was another weekend of thrilling action in Europe and both in the local scene. But in this particular video, we are going to talk about the Ghana Premier League and then the action that unfold in the Ghana Premier League. Various games were played around the match centers. You know, in 90 plus tactics, we don't usually do the local games. I remember the last time we did a local game was when the Princesses went to play in the WAFCON and they came third. And then Kotoko went to South Africa to win the Toyota Cup. But then in this particular video, we are going to bring you a review of the clash between Accra House of Folk and then Kumasi Asante Kotoko at the Ohenejan Sports Stadium, the Accra Sports Stadium, where Kotoko won by a goal to 0. Please don't forget, this is 90 plus tactics. Don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, and share. So we'll look at the results around the match centers in the Ghana Premier League, and then we center it down to the Accra House of Folk game, and then the Kumasi Asante against Kumasi Asante Kotoko. So House of Folk was beaten by Asante Kotoko by a goal to 0. Kotoko picked maximum points on the road. Young Apostles FC met Bichim United at home and won by 3 goals to 2. FC Samatex 1996 beat Swedro All Blacks by a goal to 0. Their coach Samuel Nin made some comments after the game that the team played well, but he wished that his team scored more goals because they created a lot of chances in that game. Baseke Holy Stars beat BBN Gold Stars by 2 goals to 0, which became a shocker of a result because BBN Gold Stars in almost 2 seasons now in the Ghana Premier League have been a very formidable force. Though their performance in Africa this particular season wasn't impressive, where they went and then they lost by a heavy goal margin. But I think BBN Gold Stars in the Ghana Premier League have been impressive. If you remember 2 weeks ago when they played Accra House of Folk at the Accra Sports Stadium, they managed to get a 2-2 draw and they played very well. In fact, in that game they deserved to win. At home they've been impressive, but losing to Baseke Holy Stars came as a surprise to me. House of Lions beat Brekum Chelsea FC by a lone goal to 0. Coach Samuel Boedu should be careful because the results is getting in the Ghana Premier League is not impressive for Brekum Chelsea, but House of Lions have done a very good job by beating them. They are becoming a very good side in the Ghana Premier League, and that's impressive for the game. I mean, they have a lot of history in the Ghana Premier League if you read about them. So that's about House of Lions winning at home by a lone goal to 0 against Brekum Chelsea FC. Karela United Football Club and Dreams FC drew 1-1 in the match week 9 encounter. So these are some of the results. Midiama played Aduana Stars away from home in a very impressive football game. It ended 0-0 in that game. That was a very nice game to watch. I mean, I watched that game and it was impressive. I mean, this is what we need from our clubs. This is what we need from our clubs, that at least in our game and this particular moment where football has evolved, we need to see a lot of at least one team in our league who plays a bit more of like high octane, high attacking football, who like to dominate the opponents by possessing the ball around, and that's what Mediama are trying to do. Yes, they are very direct in their play, but I see glimpses of that, and that's very impressive for this one. So that are some of the results over there. But then, after mentioning these results, we'll center this conversation down to the super clash between Accra House of Folk and Kumasi Asante Kotoko at the Accra Sports Stadium. Kumasi Asante Kotoko on the road picked maximum points against Accra House of Folk. They played very well and very impressive in the game. In fact, there were many controversies which we are going to discuss here, but for this particular game, I felt Karim Zito did have the best approach to the game than Mas Udidi Dramani, the coach of Accra House of Folk. Yes, the two teams set up in a way so that they do not get beat, so that defensively they would be solid and make sure they minimize errors. But then I felt in the game from the eye test and then the stats, Kumasi Asante Kotoko had a bit more of urgency in the game than Accra House of Folk. Yes, when you check the stats, Accra House of Folk had 57% of ball possession at full time. Kumasi Asante Kotoko had 43%. House of Folk played 4 shots, that's 4 attempts, and then Kumasi Asante Kotoko had 5 attempts. House of Folk had 0 attempts on target, 0 shots on target. After playing 4 shots, none of them were on target. And then Kumasi Asante Kotoko, out of 5 shots, had only 1 shot on target. Yellow cards, Accra House of Folk had 1 and Kotoko had 2. And then House of Folk had 5 corners Kotoko to same had 5 corners. So that was not impressive. These stats are not impressive from the two sides, because how can you play in total? How can there be 9 shots in a game or 9 attempts to score, and you have only 1 shot on target? And that shot on target happens to be the goal Donzo scored. So it means that the two teams are a bit blunt in getting the ball on target for their clubs. Not very impressive there for the two teams. So I feel the two teams should have done better. But Kotoko had the better of the game. I mean, when you check the fouls even created, Kotoko committed 25 fouls, and then House of Folk committed 15 fouls. What led to this number of fouls Kotoko committed were because of the aggressiveness in midfield. Lord Hilary Adabo, Herbert Jehu, and then one other midfielder. If you'll see him on your screen, one other midfielder. They were very aggressive in their approach, and that's one thing I liked about the Kotoko midfielders. They were very aggressive. They were picking all the loose balls. They were picking all the second balls. That's one thing that worried Masudi Dramani, the House of Folk manager, because in an attempt to play out from the back on certain occasions, or allow Benjamin Asari to hit the ball into midfield, one thing that was inevitable for the House of Folk midfielders or attacking players who drop the bits, or any of the wide players who drop into midfield, to do was to make sure that even if they didn't win the first ball, any loose ball or on a 50-50 attempt, they had to win. That was one thing that House of Folk were lacking. And the plan from Masudi Dramani, the 3-back, was a bit of a problem. I understand the whole idea behind that 3-back, because it was like we'll push Amankwa Befi a bit more higher, so he thought the right line. That was the strength of Accra. So the whole idea of the system was to make sure that all the attack will come from the right side. And Amankwa Befi in the Ghana Premier League this season has been very good, but in this particular game I was very disappointed with his performance. I am a House of Folk fan. I am very disappointed in his performance. I felt he didn't really help the team. He's a good player. He's a good player, but he lacks in his execution. One thing that I hate about some footballers is that he knows where to be. The system liberates or give him the option to be where he needs to be to help the team create more, to score goals, to do the best of things. Look at the penalty he caused. He was at the right place at the right time, defending Peter Amidu Akwa, the Kotoko guy who was very brilliant on the winger, the right winger, who was moved to the left because of tactical reason and other stuff. He knew that he had to be there to defend, but when he was there, he caused the penalty. And I feel it was a penalty. So, per the game plan of Masudi Dramani, the 3-back he began with, the whole idea was to stretch the game. So, if you realize, anytime Benjamin Asari had the House of Folk wanted to do a build-up, and the 3 centre-backs were a bit wider, it will make something like a 4-back. So Benjamin Asari drops something like a centre-back to progress the ball. Now, when Kotoko were pressing a bit higher with 3 men up front, Benjamin Asari, the whole idea was to play the ball right into midfield for the House of Folk midfielders like Hussein to pick it up. But they lack a bit more of physicality, because anytime House of Folk tried to stretch the pitch, Kotoko players moved into wide areas. So there was a very big gap in midfield. So anytime the ball was played into midfield, it was there for the taking for House of Folk, because it was right in their game plan. But the players couldn't execute because of lack of physicality. The Kotoko players were physical. Jehu and them physical. Even the centre backs were very physical on their House of Folk attackers. And I felt it was very impressive from the two sides. From Kotoko, Karim Zito did the best of that. Peter Amidu Akwa, I thought, was the man of the match. Yes, Samba O'Neil played very well. I mean, he did a very good job on both Hamza Issa and then Francis Duku, but I felt Peter Amidu Akwa was the bright spot for Kotoko, because going forward, that was their only option. I mean, Morfin Lonzo didn't really do anything to help the team in terms of attacking. A ball was played into his path where he had to just control with his feet and get a shot on goal. See the ball that Osesibe, the House of Folk centre-back, gave right to him for him to score. I mean, Morfin Donzo, and I understand the frustration from the Kotoko fans and fraternity about his performance and inability to score goals. I mean, the player is not helping himself, but I learned there are communication issues because he doesn't really understand English and other stuff. So every game plan has to be communicated to him by an interpreter, and when they come onto the pitch, it's very difficult for an interpreter to come and do something when they are issuing out instructions. So I think he'll get better, a bit more physicality to the game, more of intent in this game. You show a bit more promise. As a folk midfielders didn't really help, and then the two strikers up front, I was really disappointed in them. Hamza Issa and then Francis Duku. Somehow Neones compatriots in central defense for Kotoko did a very good job on them. Two good job, very simple job on them. I was like, Francis Duku, a big guy like this. So, and even the area duels, yes, Samba Ono is a very big guy or a bear man, but then I felt they could have done one or two stuff. Even when the ball was played onto feet, they were not able to control. One thing I hated about the House of Folk players, and I mean, Masudi Dramani's game plan was perfect. I felt he did he's a very good coach, and per what I saw yesterday in terms of House of Folk's approach in defending, in terms of House of Folk approach in attacking, the build-up, transitional play, it is very good. The whole idea is that House of Folk lack a bit more quality in terms of execution. The players know where to be at the right time, and that sense of urgency to play is not there. They lack execution. That is the thing, because they were getting into areas or zones or channels where were promising, and if Kotoko were in those zones or areas, Kotoko would have punished them. I like the fact that Amankwebe on the right side was able to get into areas where it was just a cut back or a cross, and then you hit the ball as if it was a shot. It was Charlie. Then Mohamed Kamara, the Kotoko goalkeeper, had as if he was doing something. He's a good goalkeeper, but House of Folk made it too easy for him. He was on a holiday throughout the game. Nothing to move him. Just the area does that the balls from corners and free kicks that he was claiming. There was nothing so impressive about what House of Folk did, because they lacked execution in the final third. Francis Duku, you were in the box, just a cut back to Hamza inside, and then House of Folk on target, leading. Then he hits a ball. That's one thing that was, and I'm sure the House of Folk fans, even in the stadium, were frustrated. It wasn't impressive there from those two attackers over there. Maoli Wayo came on. In fact, for one thing, I thought Masudi Draman. I thought the Maoli Wayo substitution came late. That was around the 75th minute. I think you should have brought him on better. But House of Folk were better in the second half, because when Martin Kakari came on, a few other players came on. Even Karim, the midfielder, came on. House of Folk had a bit more of control and were able to see the spaces. The only thing that lacked was urgency. I was asking myself, do these players see the scoreboard or the electronic board at the stadium? Because you are down by a goal to know, and at 80 minutes, there's nothing like urgency, there's nothing like intent, there's no intensity. Yes, they were better, they were trying to pick a few passes together, but I was not like, just go at Kotoko, go at them and see if you can get the equalizer. The penalty call was a penalty. Whether it was soft or it wasn't soft, it was a penalty, because how do you do that? How can you just follow someone, the person has dribbled you, allow your other player? You see, there was another House of Folk defender, Osesibe, was stepping in. So it means that Peter Amidu had to do another step over or try to dribble or take that shot from a very minute angle. And then Amankwabe, if he didn't do well in that game, Hussein is a very good player in the Ghana Premier League this particular season, but he just lacked physicality in midfield. And what he did after the game wasn't impressive, because you've lost the game. If you do that and try to attack the referee, it's not a good thing at all. We are not going to condone on that. Hooliganism in football has passed cry, and then you have the footballers on the pitch trying to beat this one. No. So we should know better. The FA dropped a charge against House of Folk, and then the player, and then House of Folk also brought out a communique or a statement that they are very sorry and they are not going to do that. And make sure they bring out the best of behaviors in the subsequent games. And we hope that they will do that. So now in the Ghana Premier League, Kotoko are the only unbeaten team in the league. I mean, any other team have lost, but Kotoko have played 3 games less than the other teams. They have played 6, and then House of Folk and other teams in the Premier League have played 9 games. Have played 9 games over there. So we'll go into the Premier League standings, Ghana Premier League standings, the top 10 and see. Aduana Stars, after match day 9, have 19 points and a goal difference of +5. Mediama FC, Mediama Sporting Club from Takwa have 18 points and a goal difference of +8. Accra House of Lions have 18 points and a goal difference of +7. Bibiani Gold Stars have 16 points and a goal difference of -1. Accra Asante, who lost to Kotoko, have 16 points and a goal difference of 4. Are fifth. SC Samates are sixth with 16 points and a goal difference of 3. Kumasi, Asante, Kotoko have 14 points and are 7th with a goal difference of 6. Young Apostles have 14 points after playing 8 games and a goal difference of +2. Kerala United have 13 points, a goal difference of -1 and are 9th. And then Vision FC are 10th with a goal difference of -1 and 11 points over there. So Ediana Stars have 19 points and are leading at this moment after match day 9. Mediama, House of Lions have 18 points. All the two have 18 points. And then Gold Stars, Accra House of Folk, and then Samatex all have 16 points in that regard. And then Kotoko have 14, Young Apostle 14, Kerala 13, and then Vision 11, 4.10 at 11. So that's the wrap up on the Ghana Premier League match week 9. House of Folk beating Kotoko. This was the review. Please don't forget, this is 90 Plus Tactics. We'll try and bring you more of the local stories as we bring you the foreign stories. After this particular video, check out the review of the various European games from the EPL, the La Liga, the Serie A, the French Liga, and the German Bundesliga. Other interesting stories also over there. Please don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, and share. Subscribe, like, comment, and share. This is 90 Plus Tactics. Adios. Please don't forget, this is 90 Plus Tactics. Subscribe, like, comment, and share.